Have you ever wondered who your favorite Genshin Impact character would be in the NBA? Probably not, but here it is anyways. You see, I am a professional NBA Twitter debater, and arguably the best Genshin Impact player God has ever created. That's definitely not me dying. So, my credentials are stacked quite high. I have compiled a bunch of direct NBA comparisons that have absolutely no bias information at all. So let's start off with LeBron James, a four-time champion, four-time MVP, and above all that, he is my sunshine. LeBron has been the best player in the NBA for the majority of his career, with his basic style of play and the bag equivalent to that of a McDonald's paper bag. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to find his Genshin equivalent, and I can only think of one person, or duo, that fits the bill. Coming in at 5'2", 130 pounds, drafted from Liyue State, we have Xiangling and Guoba. This devil child has been the best pyro DPS in the game for years. King years, and I won't stand for it anymore. This fuckery won't go on for much longer. Thank God. For the past 5 years, every time a new pyro DPS would drop, the theory crafters would just run the numbers and they always come back with the same depressing conclusion. Just use Xiangling. She has been the cockroach of the meta for 5 years, and she's finally starting to fall off. But despite how much I hate Xiangling's guts, she is sadly the LeBron James of Genshin Impact. She has been good for so long despite being a character in the game since 1.x. And now, even when she's not the best DPS in the league, she is now one of the best supports in the game, similar to LeBron right now. Her play may be basic at a glance, but is one of the most game-breaking things you have ever seen. And she even brought in a Nepo baby. Sound familiar? Xiangling rolls up with Guoba, her mascot, a glorified fire turret that aims like it's being controlled by a 5-year-old on a cracked iPad. It's the Genshin equivalent of a second round pick that peaks as a failed rotational player. I'm just saying, one of them is fueled by chili peppers, and the other is fueled by their daddy's hype. Anyways, before the 4 existing Bronny of James fans break into my house and shit on my bed, let's move on to my sweet, glorious king. The reason why my grass is green in the morning. Why I look forward to the next day I'm alive. Wardell Stephen Curry, the greatest shooter of all time, a unanimous MVP, and boy, oh boy, is he just. You see, Steph was a bit of an underdog when he came to the league, with his broken ankles, his unfamiliar style of play, being a sharpshooter rather than a pass-first guard, but boy, can that man stroke that thing. So, who would this man be in the NBA? Well, you have to go no further than Farina DeFontaine. And with absolutely no bias at all. You see, just like Wardell, she also had a bit of a rough start with the fans. She was snarky, bratty, and even tried to get us imprisoned. But she then revealed the real reason why she had to do all of this. And if you haven't done the Fontaine story, please, I implore you to do the best story in the game, minus the Fortress of Meropide, which may or may not be hours of torture. But I won't dive deeper into the story as this is not what the video is about. They both can fit in every system practically, and with the amount of buffs Farina gives to the team and Steph's skill set where he can be dropped into basically any team with his god-given shooting ability alongside his tremendous, every defender is pulled towards him like a fat man would be towards McDonald's discount. Farina does the same thing. You drop her into any team and suddenly your numbers look like Pokimane after her makeup. They are two people you can rely on to be the equivalent of a human win button. I'm just saying, nobody's like these two. If I had to draft a character immediately, whether it's a Genshin or NBA one, I would choose these two immediately. And it's definitely not because I'm a massive fan of both these two. Now, let's stray away from these NBA superstars and talk about someone a bit more polarizing. Rudy Gobert, a 7-foot Frenchman who can't play a lick of offense. This man makes people confused whether or not he's even good at basketball. With his draft-like movements, to his inability to shoot the ball, yes, he can play amazing defense, but sometimes he plays like me out there. And on the court, it's just straight damn air balls. So, you could be wondering, who fits his description? And after a not so long search, I have found someone who fits this description in our resident Geo Archon Zhongli. Now, you may be thinking, Oh, but Zhongli is actually really good. His shield is so comfy. Well, I'm sorry, but let's be real. Genshin Endgame is an overglorified damage check, alongside being an element check. Zhongli's offensive capabilities is around as effective as having me on NBA court. And his shield, nowadays where none of the bosses pose any real threat besides stalling you out, it's almost completely worthless, as long as you can press the dodge button. Of course, for you comfy gamers out there, just doing overworld with him is fine, but if you bring him to the abyss, with time running down the clock and you're tickling them with a Geo Pebble, maybe try switching to a Wrecking Ball. Now, you may also wonder, what else does the god of Genshin China have else in common with Rudy Gobert? Besides being a fish on offense, it's that they are both elite level, high cost step ladders. While one is used as a human highlight reel, the other is used as a convenient tool to get 2 more Primo Gems. But enough hating on the Frenchman. Let's move on to the next comparison. Monsieur Nouvelette, the Hydro Dragon of Fontaine, and the most badass man to touch the judge's robes since Frank Caprio. This man is a Hydro Sovereign of Fontaine, and the only reason why Fontaine even stands. He is one of the strongest beings in Genshin, and also has some of the coolest lore. Except there may be one minor flaw to some, and that is his answer to everything. Biden, blast! Yes, this man shoots his goddamn hydro cannon at all his problems. You got a dirty car? Biden, blast! You got a crying baby? Biden, blast! You got a hydro slime? Well, hope to God that this hydro slime is a friendly slime. And there's a person who I could think of that just goes at everything with the same solution in the NBA. The Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo, aka Run and Dunk Man. For example, if a big man were in the paint to stop this man, he'd just Euro into a dunk. If a smaller, more agile defender got in the way, he would just bulldoze and then dunk. If I needed help with a homework problem I spent 2 hours on, he'd crush that up and dunk that shit. The best part is, people will call these two the most boring things on earth, because their answer to everything is annihilate everything with a Biden blast or scoring 40 points while running downhill. But these same people will swear that watching Shai Gilgeous-Alexander shoot free throws or someone holding down the left click button on Malpuika is a lot better. Seriously though, give me the chaos. I'd rather watch a man obliterate the rim or a dragon judge melt 3 bosses in a row than watch a free throw routine. But hey, that's just me talking. But now that we're on the topic about foul baiters, let's talk about someone who's also near and dear to my heart. Wearing number 77, weighing 230 pounds, we have Luka the Don Doncic. Now, a little something about me is that my first ever NBA game I went to was a Charlotte Hornets game versus the Mavericks, while Luka was still wearing that pristine white and blue. Thanks, Nico Harrison. His play amazed me to the way he could step back in someone's face and hit a 3, to how he was carrying a bunch of bums to victory. He was the most athletic, non-athletic person I've ever seen, because that boy is dropping 70 while smoking hookah and eating burgers. And there's someone in Genshin who reminds me of that exact thing. Marissa from Genshin Impact is a 5-star Electro character from Natlan. See, just like Luka, she has an atrocious diet, consisting of cheeseburgers, Doritos, Mountain Dew, just like your average Fortnite kid with a little too much time on his hands. She also has the ability to carry the entire team on her back, with a roster filled to the brim with 4-star characters to the NBA Finals. Just like how Luka had to play with half a leg and 6 different other injuries to worry about. The way these two can drag their teams to the finish line while having the equivalent to a bunch of Make-A-Wish kids connected to their balls is crazy to me. Because they are a duo that can be the dominant force on your team while operating on the diet of an average sumo slammer. Luka Doncic is one of the greatest players I've ever seen, but somehow he will never be the number 1 player in the NBA. Just like how Varese has been so close to being the number 1 DPS, but there's always this one person in their way to reach the top of the mountain. Anyways, that's my completely unbiased, totally truthful list of Genshin NBA doppelgangers. And oh yeah, I will be soon streaming on Twitch, and hopefully on a regular occasion, so check that out if you got time. Okay, Bye.